Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
Personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. Why I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the court. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com. Check out the blog section. Check out the merchandise section as well. We have an excellent show for tonight, guys. We're going to give you guys Tier 3 and Tier 4 of Hoffy's breakdowns. Tier 3 is contenders, and Tier 4 is the best of third places, basically, what it comes down to. But let's go ahead and welcome the man, the myth, the legend himself, Brandon Combs, to the show. What's going on, Brandon?
What is going on? Michael Buckheiser, what's going on, Man Hour Nation, Big X Radio, and Tori Anderson. As he sees here live on the YouTube page, the title is Brewers are the best worst team in baseball.
Facts are facts, right?
And Tori Anderson says someone's getting a whooping for this. It was, I swear to you, Tori, yeah. I had nothing to do with this. Absolutely nothing to do with it.
He didn't have nothing to do with it. He had everything to do with it.
I did not. Do not lie to the man.
Combs is like that big brother that pushes you to do something.
Yeah.
And then if it turns out awesome, like Combs like, yeah, that was my idea.
Tori, I'm going to tell you right now, I had not talked to Buck all morning long as I was busy all morning long, and this little thing was made this morning.
Yeah.
And I did not have anything to do with it, I promise you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Tori, I guess. Sorry, I'm not sorry. Actually, I could care less.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Let's
I mean,
be honest.
the title of the show is not wrong. I'm just saying I had nothing to do with it. That's all.
So speaking of something that you didn't have anything to do with this either. But Combs, my wife, is a wonderful woman. She is beautiful. She's caring. She takes care of the kids while I'm at work and yada yada yada. Right? But Combs, if she leaves time on the microwave one more time, I swear to baby Moses that I am going to kick her in the Jerusalem. One of my pet peeves.
I get it. Yeah.
That is one of my pet peeves. Is why are you going to leave 4 seconds on the microwave? Why?
Well, the worst is when they're heating something up and there's like a minute 23 to go, and you walk into the kitchen in the middle of the day and you're like, oh wow, it's 1:23. Holy cow, and you don't even realize, and then all of a sudden your day's all screwed up because you thought it was 1:20, but it's really like 3 o'clock.
Yeah. You're like, okay. I feel this is a woman thing, Combs, because for me, I don't know if I have OCD or something like that, but it kicks in, I gotta push the clear button, right? It is almost like when you're say your power it goes out and then the clock on the stove starts to blink. I gotta go fix that as soon as I see it. Are you the same way, or am I just a special character?
I don't, because of cell phones and because of technology, I don't really pay attention to the time on the microwave or the time on the stove anymore. It's mostly just due to my phone. So it doesn't bother me as much as it used to. So I don't know if it might be a woman thing. I do know that when I'm done with the microwave, if there's any time left on the clock, I always hit cancel. Always. Right. It's just the way that I do it.
Or just put how much time you want on there. You push 123 and let it go down to 0, right? Don't just put the 2-minute thing I'm going to say.
And Michelle's really good. So she says she's the same way. She's not saying the same way as your wife. She's saying she's the same way as you.
Yeah.
She has OCD. So if something's flashing or if the time's not right or something's not right, I'm telling you, if we're watching TV at night and I'm turning the volume up, if I leave the volume at 15, I either have to turn it up one more or down one more, so it's an even number.
She's an even number. So even on the volumes, odds on the speedometer, right?
Yeah.
That's just general knowledge. That's just a general rule, right? I mean, if you learn how to drive, it's
everything,
odd
man.
numbers.
Even if I'm in the car, if we're listening to the radio and I'm turning the volume up, and the same thing, got to be on an even number. To be honest with you, I haven't. I listen, so all of my stuff is through like Spotify or ESPN Radio or some app or whatnot that I listen to. I haven't tried the radios. I wonder what happens if we listen to like 96.3 or something. You know, I wonder if that's if we're able to do that.
Well, I mean, all radio stations are odds. It's like 96.1 Big X, right? 97.3 the country station. Like there's no even numbers in FM dial. I mean, obviously in like AM they're all in zeros. So 1580, 1400. So yeah,
I never thought
I don't
about
know why
that.
that is. I don't know why that is, like, at all, to be honest. But another thing that's
Even
been
numbers
driving
are
me
for the government.
What'd you say?
Even numbers are for the government.
Oh, is the Earth is the Earth flat too? Are they tapping in? Like, you got the little barcode on your arm there too?
Hey, look, I'm telling you right now, they are definitely listening, because when I
Google
can go
is.
in, if I say right now, watch, I guarantee this is going to happen. If I say Buck, I was actually looking to see if I could get some sort of scented candle. Okay, my phone's sitting right next to me.
Right.
In about 20 minutes, if I go scroll through Facebook, I'm going to see scented candles on my Facebook feed.
Right.
And they're going to be trying to
100%.
sell me something, because they're like, I don't know what it is. Every time I say something like crazy, and it's something I would never do. One time, Michelle was messing with me. This was before we got engaged. We had just started dating, and she was like, "Oh, if ever I get a ring, or if ever I get a ring, blah blah." And she was talking about rings. And next thing I know, I have Jared's popping up on my Facebook. I've got all sorts of. I got emailed one time something we were talking about. I forget what it was. Oh man. But it was bad, and then all of a sudden I got an email for it. So now even the emails are getting into it.
Yeah, that is scary to me, 100%. But if you guys are listening on the radio, 96.1 Big X here, hold your phones up to the radio right now. Head over to manhourradio.com. Get yourself a T-shirt. T-shirt from Man Hour Radio. Man Hour Radio T-shirt.
Yes, T-shirt for Man Hour Radio. That's what you want right now.
One more time, right? Man Hour T-shirt. Man Hour T-shirt. Man Hour T-shirt.
Yeah,
It
Man
pops
Hour
up there for you.
T-shirt. Subscribe to Man Hour. Subscribe to Man Hour Radio. Man Hour
Speaking
Nation.
of subscribing and like bending the rules a little bit, right? Baylor's basketball coach. Her name, I'm talking about the female coach, not the men's side. Where is her name? I lost it here. Oh man. Oh, here it is.
You see this evil right here?
Michelle Dooling says, "I knew what I was doing. Ha ha ha. I knew it would come up on your Facebook." Wow. She was talking about the ring, I guess, huh?
Subliminal messages.
Oh, what's that song by All the Single Ladies? No.
If you liked it, you should have put a ring on it.
Yeah, there you go. Bam. So Kim Mickley is the Baylor's female basketball coach. They did get beat last night. We will talk about that after the break here.
Maybe they did.
maybe not. We'll talk about it. But she said after the game, she wants to do away with COVID testing, period. She said, and I quote, "Wouldn't it be a shame if someone tested positive and couldn't play in the Final Four game?" So Combs, first things first, Baylor is from Texas. Texas is very, very mask free right now. They've been pretty lax throughout this whole COVID thing anyways. So what are your first initial thoughts when somebody like this figurehead, a female basketball coach, comes out and says that there should be no COVID testing in the Final Four? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, because you know how I feel about COVID and about the numbers and about everything else.
I think we're in the same boat. I think most of the people are in the same boat that have a head on their shoulders, right?
Yeah, and I just think that, because of the amount of people, like, I don't have a problem with the testing. I don't have a problem with the, with if they're positive, making them, not play it because of the what ifs. Like, we talked last week. Like, so my grandmother is in hospice right now, and for a long time before she got to the hospice point, like, I didn't want to go visit her, not because I was afraid of COVID, not because I, automatically thought that just because you get it, it's a death sentence, not
Right.
because I thought you turn into a zombie immediately as soon as COVID sets in, but because of the what if, because of the, because of the underlying condition thing. And so some of these players may have an underlying condition. And so I don't have a problem with the testing. I don't have a problem with having them not play. I would feel bad for anybody. Like, I mean, the biggest one for me was always Justin Turner in the World Series.
Yeah.
Game
That
6
was
of the
the
World
most
Series in the
messed up
7th
situation
inning,
ever.
they pull him, and then he
ridiculous.
doesn't get to. So, yeah, it was insane. I mean, and not only that, but it's asinine. The guy's already played 7+ innings, so if he's that freaking contagious, they've already got it.
Right.
So I just, it's a catch-22,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not saying she's right. I think that, it's a hard thing to determine as to what the right thing to do is.
Well,
Especially
I thought
when
we didn't have Wyatt on the show, so you are definitely taking Wyatt's slack up here, going right down
no.
the middle, aren't you?
I know, and I know I'm not giving you a direct answer. I'm just
Right.
because I really am 50-50 on this one.
Yeah.
Like I really am if you test and you test positive and you can't play, I understand it. But if you don't test at all and you say screw it, all bets are off here. We're in Indianapolis. Indiana is mask free now. Like
Not yet. April 5th.
Well,
After
right, but
Easter. Yeah.
yeah. So go for it. Do whatever you want to do. I'm okay with whatever way they go. I think she's a little bit bitter as to the loss and how they lost. Like we
Right,
said,
right,
we're
right.
we're gonna get to that in a little bit. But I don't have a problem with it. And I've heard all day on ESPN. Other people do have a problem with it. I've heard on it all day long that she's stupid or she should say this or blah blah blah. Who is she?
Right.
She's not a doctor. Blah blah blah. Well, news for you guys. None of you people on ESPN have a PhD.
Yeah, well, maybe some people do, but definitely not like a medicine doctor, right?
I'm
But-
pretty sure Stephen A. Smith does not have a PhD.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a college degree, let's be honest, or a high school diploma the way sometimes he talks. But let's go ahead and digress on that a tad bit. But I am going the route that, so this is me speaking as a coach right now. Sometimes as a coach, you are obligated to say the things that are correct. Not necessarily whether if you believe them or not. You have to put yourself up on this pedestal saying everybody's looking up to me. I have to say the politically correct things. Now, on the flip side of this, the NCAA tournament has been in a, quote, bubble since opening day. If COVID pops up in 10 days now or 7 days, you'll get symptoms. If you're going to get COVID, you have already gotten COVID by now, and it's already spread out. Since these players and teams have been in a bubble situation, there should be no reason for testing whatsoever. But I digress on that because, hey, they're college kids. At the end of the day, they're going to sneak out. They're going to have a good time, interact with other people, yada yada yada. You cannot shut down a kid's experience in the March Madness just because of a overblown disease. I'm just gonna be frank about it. I think it's been very, very overblown. On the flip side of that coin, though, if we're not going to COVID test for Final Four, why do we COVID test for the tournament at all? Think about this. Oregon may not be, or they may have not been where they're at if they would have had played VCU in the first round. I actually had VCU beating Oregon in the first round. So let's flip to the men's side. If there was no COVID testing, we may not be praising the Pac-12 as much as we are, right? Let's just be flat and honest. So it's just it is a hard pill to swallow one way or the other. Just because it varies from state to state so much. If you look at Texas, where Baylor is located, they've been match free since what? 1st of March or 2nd of March.
Right.
It's something
Right.
ridiculous. But then you come to Kentucky, we are still having to wear masks and scarves and hoodies and gloves and hand sanitize, and it is absolutely crazy. Like, it just, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's where I am with her as far as that goes, because these guys are already playing. These girls are already playing. They're already in the they're already in the bubble. They've already been playing. They've already sweated all over each other. They've already done everything that you can possibly think of, which if you're going to contract COVID, that's the way you're going to contract it. So, I guess I'm kind of, I'm more on that side of not testing than I am of testing. But I also, I do understand the importance of the testing and the importance of holding them out, because, again, if one of these players, God forbid, say they don't test, okay? Say they don't test, and one of these players heading to the Final Four has COVID but is asymptomatic, and one of the players she's playing against has an underlying symptom, she contracts it and dies.
True.
I know it's far-fetched. Yeah. I know it's far-fetched, but it's the what if.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you have to err on the side of caution.
That is Wayne G's favorite line, right? What if?
Yeah.
So nonetheless, we could talk about COVID all day long, and because Combs, I think mine and your views are definitely spot on, or not spot on. They are the same. So
right.
I feel like we would kind of end up attacking other people type of thing, because let's be honest, we feed off each other sometimes a little too much, and we don't know when to pump the brakes. So with that being said, we are going to take our first break, guys. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk some more women's college basketball, Baylor versus UConn last night, Russell Wilson to the Chicago Bears, NFL young quarterbacks, and a 17 NFL game season. Are you ready for NFL 17 game season, Combs?
Look, man, I'm ready for opening day.
There we go. All right, guys. We'll be right back here on the Man Hour. Stay tuned. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckhosh along with Brandon Combs here. Combs, before we get into the next segment here, guys, I do see all your comments rolling in, and some of them we're not going to address just because I don't want to get in a political battle, masker versus maskless, and all this other, just all this other stuff. So just know that we do see all of your comments rolling in. Drew, I definitely agree with you 100%, but we aren't going to address that here on the Man Hour this particular day. Maybe the after show we can address it and discuss it. But Combs, tell the people about Angel with an A before we get into segment number 2.
Yeah, so Angel with an A is a memorial fund for Angela Dewey, and all proceeds are going to go to a scholarship fund in Angela Dewey's memory. It's a memorial motorcycle ride that takes place on May 1st, 2021 in Vermont. So it's going to take place in oh God, I forgot the town's name. Okay. So in Vermont, $25 per rider. Every $25 buys you another card. Top 10 poker hands will win a prize. Man Hour does have a prize in there. Every $250 donated by Man Hour listeners, Man Hour will donate an additional $25. So guys, if you want to donate an Angel with an A, contact Jesse Dewey at jesse_Dewey@yahoo.com. Or you can just message us here on the Man Hour and we can direct you into the right areas as well. So yeah, I mean, it's a great cause. Jessie has been a friend of mine for a long time. Played softball with her, and she's a great person. And her family is great people as well. And Angela was a great person. So you want to donate to a good cause. This is one of those. And even if you can't donate, like always, just share, and those who can donate will.
Yeah, and I have not been the best person right now sharing this on the Facebook page, but I will do that right after this show is like is over, and we'll pin it to the top there. So if you guys head over to facebook.com/Man Hour Sports Talk, you can definitely share that. It'll be pinned to the top there. So Combs, let's go ahead and get into a segment number 2. This is our sports headlines segment. We do have some action-packed show happening to you. Like we're getting Hoffy on here at the top of the hour, talk some baseball talk. We got the What Does tonight and some crystal ball. But let's go ahead and talk a little women's college basketball. First things first. Last night, UConn beat Baylor 69-67. But that is not the story of the game. The story of the game is the non-call. The last shot of the game, the Baylor Bear female missed a shot, and to me, she looked like she was fouled. Many people said she was fouled, but here is what the ref said.
She was fouled twice.
Yeah, well, she was not fouled because it was not called, but this is what the ref said, and I quote, after the game when they interviewed him. He said, first things first, I do not want to be the reason why a upset happens. AKA, He was going to swallow his whistle no matter what. He was not going to call a foul on that shot whatsoever.
Wow.
Reading between
that was his
the
answer?
lines. That was his answer. That was a quote word for word there. I did not want to be the reason why a upset occurred. So that kind of tells me that maybe he had some money on the games, Combs. Maybe he was doing the what was the NBA ref's name that got caught for cheating, right? And
Tim Donahue or something.
Yeah.
Donahue. Yeah.
So,
man, look, as a referee, you cannot. Not only can you not say that, but you can't think that way. You can't be like, "Hey, I'm not going to be the reason why somebody gets upset." A penalty is a penalty. A foul is a foul.
Right.
If they get fouled, you put your arm up. You're not the one that is creating the upset. The player who fouled her is creating the upset.
Or just the fact that it was just a good game.
They played their butts off and deserved to have an opportunity to win that game or at least tie it there. And you didn't blow the whistle because you didn't want to be the reason there wasn't that. First of all, if I'm Baylor, I'm not stopping until something happens, and something needs to happen to that referee. That guy, you can't referee a game like that. I don't care what level you're reffing at. You can't ref a game like that.
Right.
You can't. You don't care what the outcome is. You don't care who wins. You don't care. And we talked about this last week with the NHL ref. You don't care who wins the game. You don't. At the end of the day, you just want to make sure that you made the correct call on every play. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be mistakes, and we all make mistakes. Every referee makes mistakes. I can't tell you how many times I've skated up to a coach on a bench where a coach is like, "Well, what did you, coach? Either A, coach, I didn't see it, or hey, coach, I missed that call. I should have made that call. My arm didn't go up. I froze. My bad." But never say, like, I owe you one or anything like that. You know if you miss a call. You know if you make a call and it shouldn't have been a call. Those are things that you know. But to sit there and say, man, I'm not going to be the reason these guys win. That's rough.
Or
and again, it's a 1 versus a 2. It was a
Yeah.
1 versus a 2. It's not like it was a 16 versus a 1 either. So how big of an upset is it really?
True. So one thing that I am adamant about, Combs, is a foul that's in the first 5 minutes of the game is a foul in the last 5 minutes of the game. Like, I strongly dislike, I don't use the word hate very often, but I strongly dislike when the calls either get looser in the last couple minutes of a game or get tighter in the last couple minutes of a game. I mean, like, why do all of a sudden do I have to change my style of play, the way I've been playing the first 34 minutes of the game, to like all of a sudden I have to watch this little slap, this slap on the wrist because I've been doing it like all game, but now it's a foul, or I get punched in the face and it was a foul in the first half, but now it's like, oh, I don't like, I'm just going to swallow my whistle and let them play. Like, I hate when those things happen, and it happens. I feel like it happens in basketball more than any other sport, because let's be honest, in football, holding is holding. I mean, it is hard not to call a obvious holding call, right? Yes, there's holding every play, but you have to throw the obvious ones. I mean, and then in baseball, a strike is a strike. Yes, sometimes umpires miss strikes right down the middle, but that's usually in spring training because we're getting adjusted too, right? But
some of them miss them during the regular season too.
But yeah, it's just. This is the second referee issue we've had in just as many weeks. First, the NHL guy, Phil. What's his name? Phil. What was his name? Shoot, I forget his name. Like, and then this basketball ref. Like, is football next? Like,
I don't. I don't know. I don't like the referee the way he worked. Maybe he just, like Tori Anderson says, he should have awarded it. I just let them play it out. That I might have been fine with. Then I might have been say, look, I was letting the players determine it. But still, even at that
if it's
point,
a foul, it's a foul, right?
A foul is a foul. You call it no matter how much. That's why, as a referee, you don't look at the clock. You don't look at the scoreboard, because you don't care what the score is. You don't care how much time is on the clock. The buzzer will tell you when time is up. Like, there is no reason for you to ever look at the scoreboard as a referee. You should not know what the score of the game is. I'm sorry, but you shouldn't, because the point of the game should not dictate whether or not you call a penalty, or a foul. It just shouldn't. And when it does, it's bad. And this is a bad look for NCAA. It's a bad look for the officials. And I know a lot of NCAA officials in hockey. I know a lot of NCAA officials in basketball. And I feel for them in situations like this, because everybody, when a referee makes a call and then a statement like that, or misses a call like that and then makes a statement like that, all of a sudden all refs are looked bad upon.
Yeah.
And it's not just one. So, I mean, I just hate for something like that. And then Drew chimes in and says, Jacoby, so David Jacoby from Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN said it was a foul, but he wouldn't have called it. He said the Baylor girl flopped. Regardless, it was a foul. He says it right there in his statement. It was a foul, but he wouldn't have called it. Then he's wrong too. Yep. If it's a foul, you make the call. I don't think she flopped at all. She was in midair when she got hit, and she got hit twice. She got hit once in the face and once on the arm.
So here's the problem that I had with this earlier, because I was watching. I try to stay away from ESPN now because they're really political nowadays. Like, I was watching, I believe it was CBS Sports or something to that effect, and they showed a play earlier in the first half that basically the same exact shot, the UConn player, but the UConn player was shooting, and then the Baylor girls fouled her, right? Yeah. And they called that foul, and then they put those plays side by side. They were almost exactly the same plays.
Identical, yeah.
One of them was called in the first half, but not in the second half. So,
and see, this is the reason why ESPN doesn't want me on their airwaves. They don't want me doing a show with David Jacoby, because I would have said, hey, okay, Jacoby, you jump straight up in the air. I'm going to hit you on the arm and hit you on the face, and let's see if you can land straight on your feet. So let's determine whether or not you're flopping as well. Like, there's no gray area there. A foul is a foul. There's no gray area.
And if you want to go to the flop route, stop calling the flopping. I mean like start because like the NCAA
Yeah.
has a rule that if you flop, it is a personal foul against you. They could,
Right.
like if it was truly let's say it was truly a flop, they missed 2 calls there. They missed a foul and they missed a flop. So
Yeah.
like come on.
And that's where, like, you know, I think that hockey has done a great job of taking flopping out of the game, because yes, you'll still see it from time to time and a call get made and it'll only go one way. But a lot of times, if you feel somebody, you know, embellishes a penalty, or you feel like it wasn't as bad as they made it look, you call both of them and send them both to the box.
Yeah.
Now nobody's penalized because you were stupid. Like, that guy was going to get a penalty, and then you decided to flop like a fish, like you were LeBron James on skates.
Oh, come on.
So now you're going to the bench too.
You cannot diss the GOAT like that. Come on, man. The only way where
I didn't say
the
anything
GOAT,
about Michael Jordan.
you said something about the true GOAT, LeBron James. But
No,
the only
no,
the only sport
No.
the only sport where flopping is encouraged is soccer. I love when soccer players get hurt and they get like I will never forget this. It was somewhere in like Europe. This dude sprained his ankle, right? And they're carrying him off like on like the little like the handheld stretcher things, and they kept dropping like the what's it called? Is it called a stretcher, Combs? Is like it's
Yeah, stretcher, yeah.
So he keeps falling off the stretcher, and then finally like he just like gets up and like walks off. He's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. My favorite, I've seen another one where the guy is rolling around holding his ankle, and the goalie from the other team came and picked him up and carried him to the sideline, and the guy pushed him, and as soon as he puts him down on the sideline, he gets up and starts running after the goalie. Like, yeah, your ankle was hurt really bad. And Drew chimes in and says, no matter what, though, Baylor blew their lead and missed 7 free throws.
Facts.
I agree with you, Drew.
Facts.
I do. They did blow their lead, but that doesn't change the fact that it was a 2-point game with time expiring on the clock, and a foul was missed. I don't care what lead they blew. I don't care how many shots they missed. They had an opportunity to tie the game, and it was stripped from them. And that regardless of what happened throughout the course of the game. I mean, that's college basketball, right? I mean, leads change all the time, especially big leads. Like, I've never seen more big leads blown than I do in college basketball.
Didn't we just see Houston on Monday night give up like a 20-point lead, and Oregon State came back? They were down by two or three. So yeah, game of momentum, 100%. But my college coach Ron Prince, I will never forget him say, Don't put the game in the ref's hands. Like, just do your job and do well, and we won't be in the situation at the end of the game. But speaking of being in bad situations, the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson saga continues, Combs. We have letting it calm down for you. We let your birthday come. We let your blood pressure go back down to 120 over 80 or whatever it's supposed to be.
And now we're going to talk about the frickin' Bears.
And now we're going to talk about the Bears. So the Seattle Seahawks have come out and said that they like rookie quarterbacks on rookie contracts. Reading between the lines, they still want to move Russ because he's making too much money. They want to pay a rookie quarterback like Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, yada yada yada, to do great things for them for 5 or 6 years, and then move past him. But with all that being said, the Bears and this Russell Wilsons are still being linked together. You said that, I believe it was July 1 when you thought this trade was going to happen, right? Do you still think Russell Wilson and the Bears make sense somehow, some way?
Buck, look at the background of my of everything that I have here.
Yeah, I see a lot.
Do you see any Bears stuff
from the thrift store?
Do you see any Bears stuff remaining back here?
No, because it's baseball season. Oh.
Yeah, but even if it was football season, there's not going to be any Bears stuff back here because I'm just done with this team. Like, I can't, like, I don't understand what they're doing. They're not getting, and I repeat, they are not getting Russell Wilson. They are not getting Deshaun Watson. They are getting Andy Dalton.
They have Andy Dalton.
And like that meme that I sent you earlier, where there's that big ship that got stuck in the middle of the river, and there's that little digger trying to push it out. Well, that big Titanic ship is is the Bears, never, ever, ever having a quarterback in their freaking organization, and that little thing trying to move it, that's Andy Dalton.
Hey, that little
Stop.
digger, the little backhoe did eventually get that ship out. Things are flowing now, Combs. So it may have taken a week to get it out, but that little backhoe did the little engine that could and got him free. So are you saying that Andy Dalton is going to struggle with the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and bada bing, bada boom, they are in the playoffs?
No. Andy Dalton is not doing anything for the Cubs. And like Timothy Leonard says here, or the Bears, I should say, Combs will be done with the Cubs by July. That is a falsehood.
We'll get into baseball
2016
talk at the top of
happened.
the
I will
hour.
never be done with the Cubs. So Andy Dalton with the Bears is an older, more washed up version of Mitch Trubisky. Like, I'm rooting for him. He's a ginger.
No, you're not.
I'm rooting for him. But of course I'm rooting for him. He's the quarterback of my football team. Of course I'm rooting for him. Of course I want him
team
to
that you wrote
I
off,
want
right?
him to go 16-0 and win a Super Bowl this year and prove me wrong. That's what I want him to do. But the truth of it all, it's not going to happen, Buck. The Bears are atrocious at trying to get any type of quarterback. They tease you and tease you and tease you. Oh, we're all in on Russell Wilson. Oh, we're all in on Deshaun Watson. Oh, the Bears have a huge trade. Nobody else is expected to match the Bears trade offer for Deshaun Watson. Oh, the Bears are in on Russell Wilson. Oh, the Bears signed Andy Dalton.
So you said it, actually I said it, and like I think you kind of agreed to my opinion there. The reason why that the Seahawks hadn't jumped on that trade with the Chicago Bears yet is because they didn't have a quarterback of the future, meaning like a rookie quarterback or draft capital to go get a rookie quarterback. Maybe now, since the offseason drama is starting to heat up, the draft is just right around the corner. The 49ers are jumping up to the number 3 pick. The Eagles are moving up to like 6, the Dolphins are moving back up to 6 with the Eagles, and maybe, just maybe, the Seahawks will try to make some type of play. Maybe a 3-person trade. Like maybe the Seahawks, Miami, and Chicago all get together. And
The Bears are not getting a quarterback, Buck, unless they might draft a quarterback. But I doubt that too. And if they do draft a quarterback, they're going to take whatever quarterback that is coming out of, Weber State. That's going to be their quarterback that they draft with the number 22 overall pick. I don't even know who he is. I don't even know if Weber State has a damn team, but that's who they're taking. God.
Nonetheless, I mean,
Timothy Leonard's about to make me mad in the comments, man.
So, Tim, if you would stick around for hour number 2, we are going to talk a lot of baseball talk moving forward. And
you are wrong, sir.
And the Cubs are in tier 3 or tier 4, so stay tuned to.
Oh, Hoffy's dead.
That. So, with that being said, Combs, if you are so hell bent that the Bears are not getting a quarterback, why does Russell Wilson's name keep getting linked with the Chicago Bears over and over and over again? And yes, I know that he said it was a trade destination, yada yada yada, and people always try to make fire out of smoke and peanut butter out of, like, why? If it's not going to happen, why does the name keep coming up day after day after day?
Because there's nothing better for them to talk about, right? The Bears are not going to get Russell. Why would the Bears go get Russell Wilson? Why, if they go get Russell Wilson, why did they go get Andy Dalton?
For a trade bait,
and then
for
in
a
Andy
security
Dalton,
blanket.
And then in Andy Dalton's press conference says, "I came here because I was told I was the starter."
Which Andy Dalton is a good.
Which Nick Foles has to be the most excited person in the room, right?
Nick Foles. I kind of feel bad for Nick Foles. Like,
I
let's
don't
be
feel
honest.
bad for Nick.
I mean,
I don't feel bad. When the Bears signed him, he was big. You know what, Nick? Like, I was like, good for them. I even told you. I even said he's going to come in and take over by week 4, and the Bears are going to go 11-5 and win their division. And he disappointed me. He went from big, you know what, Nick, to little Irish wee wee Nick. That's what he is.
He has gotten the short end of the stick, though. Every spot he has gone to, though.
No, he hasn't. He just sucks.
Okay. He is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He signs a big deal with Jacksonville, gets hurt week 1 versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
He had a good month. He had one good month in his career, and that was that playoff month.
Actually, I think he's pretty darn good in the Eagles green uniform, but nonetheless, here, as Torrey Anderson says, breaking news, Andy Dalton is named the Cubs' 5th starter and added to the 40-man roster. Classic.
Torrey Anderson, whenever I get the fortunate pleasure of meeting you, I'm kicking you straight in the shins. Straight in the shins.
Well, that's because you can't reach anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't need to reach anywhere else. Kicking him straight in the shins.
Torrey Anderson, you brought up a great movie. Do you remember that movie, Basketball?
Basketball?
Yeah. I love that movie. That is a great movie. But let's go ahead and and we're still going to talk, NFL here. But the 17-game season is officially going to happen in the year 2021. With that being said, are you excited for the 17-game NFL season, Combs?
Sure. Mostly because the Bears can't go 8-8. Now they'll go 8-9, so they won't be 500. I don't. I don't know. I mean, what does it really add? What does one more regular season game add other than revenue for the teams? It doesn't add the ability to stop teams from winning the division. I mean, all it does is give you, instead of week 16 with no starters playing, it's week 17 that no starters are going to play.
Right.
Like I really don't understand the point of adding one regular season game. What was wrong with 16? It's like, you remember that we talked about movies just now. Remember that movie, Something About Mary?
Yep.
Where he's like 6-minute abs. So I got something new. 7-minute abs. And if you're not satisfied with the first 6 minutes, we'll give you the 7th minute for free. That's what this is to me. This is just it's an extra game where at the end of the day, there might be 1 or 2 games that matter, and the rest of them aren't going to. And the starters won't play.
Well, I mean, if you think about this, it was way before my time. They played a 14-game NFL season. Then they kicked it up to 16 games, which, fun fact there, I believe Torrey said that the Chicago Bears still don't have a 4,000-yard passer in the in all NFL season.
Thanks, Buck. Could have gone without saying that on the air, but thanks.
So bumping up to 17 games, maybe they might get that 4,000-yard. Like you never know. But the one thing about the 17-game season is, I think the NFL is trying to become a global brand, because we have seen games over in Europe, up to 3 games now over in Europe.
But that's the other thing. Like
Mexico?
The trip over to Europe, it's like, for what? They barely fill the stands. The games are very poor because of the travel that's involved for the teams. Name me a game that we have had in Europe that has stood out to you that was like, wow, that was a great game. None, because it's usually the Raiders and the Dolphins, or it's never 2 really solid teams that are playing over. It's a Thursday night football game played in Europe.
Well, on the bright side, it does start at like 8 a.m. here on the East Coast, so there's that. So you do get a full day of football.
But it's not really a full day of football. You wake up and you turn on the TV, and then you got these 2 teams that are basically just running practice against each other because neither one of them are very good, and they're all jet lagged.
So you are saying you are 100% against the 17 games season?
I'm not 100% against the 17 games. I'm definitely against the games in Europe. I'm definitely against I don't think there was a need for the 17th game. I'm fine if you have a 17th game. Great, it's one more day of football, one more week of football. But it's just one more week that's not going to matter in the long run. I mean, how many games really matter usually in week 16? It's usually what, 1 or 2? 1 or 2 where a wild card spot and maybe a division spot is available.
1 or 2 games that are locked up. So since they've changed the playoff rules where only one team gets that bye, like this year only 2 or 3 teams sat their starters week 17. So it made it for much exciting, right? This year, of course, it was maybe an anomaly.
I still only think like maybe 1 or 2 were really relevant. I think the NFC East was up for grabs.
Yeah.
And I think there was one wild card game that was, and I even think that wild card game got nixed because of what happened in the early games. So it didn't even matter as to what happened because of how. So I don't know. I think that it's a moot point. It all it does is take week 16 and move it to week 17. And gives you one more game in the standings. And it gives the owners one more game to make money. The problem is now is you're going to have an odd number of home games to away games. How do they determine who gets the extra home game, who gets the extra away game? Are they going to alternate years? Are they going to, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Is NFC gets 1 year, AFC gets the next year. Like the only thing I could think of play so that extra game is a cross conference game, right? The NFC versus AFC. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah.
I guess, but it's just I don't know. I don't think there was a need for it. I don't think there was a reason for it. This is just a typical NFL money move. What are they doing? They're taking away 2 preseason games, though, right? There's only going to be 2 preseason games now.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. So you lose 2 preseason games, you gain a regular season game, but again, come week 16 or week 17 now, I just don't understand what they're doing.
I can tell you what Drew thinks. They are risking players' health and injury for the old.
No, they're not, because the starters aren't going to play in week 17, Drew. It's just like week 16, but it's moved a week later. The starters aren't going to play unless, I mean, if it's a necessary game, sure, the starters are going to play. But if it's a necessary game in week 17, chances are it would have been a necessary game in week 16, and they would have played then too.
True. Nonetheless, I don't like it. I like even numbers. Me and Michelle are on the same page. I like even numbers.
Yeah, that's the other thing, and Drew here brings up a good point before we go to break. They can throw all of their stats and analysts out the window. They will now forever be skewed. How do you determine now the single season rushing record? Because what if somebody breaks it in week 17?
Well, I mean, then you have to think back when they had 13 games and 14 games and then 16. I mean, it's a part of the process, right? I mean, things change, things happen.
Yeah, I guess.
So, all right, guys, we are going to take our next break here on the Man Hour. Coming up on the Man Hour, we're going to do over/under opening day baseball edition with your man Brandon Combs, of course, Buck. This is brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. If you guys have not downloaded the Thrive Fantasy app yet, head over to thrivefantasy.com and use promo code MANHOUR. They will match up to $50 on your first deposit, up to $50, like I said. You can also download it on Android and iOS devices. That's thrivefantasy.com, promo code MANHOUR. We'll be right back after the break, guys. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs here. We are going to do the over-under Major League Baseball opening day happening for us, brought to you by Thrive Fantasy. Head over to thrivefantasy.com. Use promo code MANHOUR to get up to $50 matched on your first deposit. So let me go ahead and give you guys a little bit of what Thrive Fantasy looks like here. So as you see, we are on the website right here, thrivefantasy.com. And what we're going to be doing right now is this $20 Major League opening day. Is $10,000 guaranteed prizes. So far, there's only been 66 entries, so you have a great chance of winning some money right now. So if you guys go ahead and head over to thrivefantasy.com, use promo code MANHOUR, you can basically enter up to 4 or 5 times, Combs, and get a chance to win that $10,000. I could use that $10,000.
I could use $10,000 too.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I do like some money. So let's go ahead and open up my Thrive Fantasy app here on my iOS device. I did use promo code MANHOUR, so I got the $50 matched here on the first deposit. So, Combs, it is opening day here in April 1st. Pretty excited. I know you are on cloud 9. You've been like a kid in a candy store for the last, I don't know, week and a half, just counting down the days.
I've already got my underwear picked out.
Yeah, I thought you weren't wearing, or no, you were wearing only underwear on opening day.
Yeah, I'm just going to be in just underwear, and I'm going to be
eating Cheetos. Yeah, all day.
Cheetos.
You and Drew are going to be sitting on the couch, right, on opposite sides.
Hot dogs and Cracker Jacks. Yeah, it's going to be yep. Can't wait.
Oh, already, Combs. So let's go ahead and jump into this over-under here, guys. So how Thrive Fantasy works is you pick 10 over-unders that like you want to do, and then 2 ice picks, so just in case. So with that being said, the first one that we are going to do here is, yeah.
Tori's not wrong. Tori says, have you seen Combs' bracket? You want him to gamble?
Combs is a great gambler. He's a professional gambler, just not very good at picking college basketball games. Like 12% bracket, right?
It's true.
But
it's true. Over
under here, Aaron Judge for the New York Yankee gets 0.5 total hits, Combs. Over under.
Under, what was the number again?
0.5. Is he going to get a hit or is he not?
Is he going to get a hit? Man, I'm going to go over and say he gets a hit. I know they're going. So the Blue Jays going up against the Yankees on opening day. Hyun-Jin Ryu is going to get his shot at the Yankees, his first start with the Blue Jays, and you know I like Ryu a lot. I think he's a great pitcher. But look, Aaron Judge is out of the 2 big men that they have in that lineup between Judge and Stanton. I really trust Judge's bat. So you give me Judge for at least a hit, if not a home run.
Yeah. I think Aaron Judge is always pretty good the first month and a half of the season, and then he gets hurt and he's on IR for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So sticking in that Blue Jay Yankees game here, George Springer, 0.5 total bases. So first things first, explain to people what bases means if you are new to the prop bets.
Yeah, so total bases is if he hits a single, he's got 1 total base. If the next guy while he's on first grounds out and he moves over to second, that's 2 total bases. Every base that he touches that the third out is not created on, then it counts as a total base. So you hit a home run, that's 4 total bases. And the over-under is 0.5?
It is 1.5.
1.5. Man, Garrett Cole. I'm going to go over. Just because I really like what the Blue Jays lineup looks like. I like George Springer already as it is, but I really like George Springer in this lineup, and I know it's Garrett Cole, but I think that this Blue Jays team is going to make a statement in this opening weekend. Mm-hmm. I think that they're going to say, hey, look, we're here. It's our time in the American League East. So give me George Springer over 1.5 total bases.
All right, so you have over and over for the first two picks here. Go. So if you guys are playing along here, youtube.com/manhour, let us know in the comments whether if you're going over or under. The next one is starting pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, James Bieber, 7.5 total strikeouts. Over under.
Man. Who are they playing? I'm looking at the schedule right now.
They're playing Detroit Tigers.
I'm going to go over. Yeah, I'm going to go over. The Detroit lineup is abysmal. Shane Bieber is a strikeout artist. I'm gonna go with Shane Bieber.
Yeah, and if you listen to yesterday's show, Combs said they were going to be racing for the worst record in the league.
I don't think Cleveland's far behind them though.
So this could be a game watching. Wink, wink. I'm not for sure. I'm not going to be watching that game at all. But moving next up here is Josh Darnelson, 0.5 total runs in the game.
0.5 total runs. They are playing the Brewers. They are going up against Brendan Woodruff. And Torrey Anderson is a huge Brewers fan. What was the number?
0.5.
And what was the bet? 0.5 total bases?
Runs. Total
runs.
Yep.
I'm going to go over. I think that the Twins are going to dog the Brewers on opening day. I think the Brewers are going to have a rough weekend starting out against the Twins. And I'll take the over on that one as well.
So speaking of the Brewers, let's go ahead and stick with that game. Christian Yelich, total home runs, 0.5 over under.
I'm going over.
Home runs.
I take Christian Yelich every day. I love Christian Yelich. Even though he's a Brewer, I love Christian Yelich. And, Kenta Maeda is a good pitcher, but he does give up the long ball. So give me Christian Yelich to at least hit one home run on opening day.
Hey, some breaking news just came into the Man Hour Nation here. Colt McCoy has just signed with the Arizona Cardinals, so we'll talk about that during shop talk. So that's kind of a surprise signing there. But back to over-under here. Bryce Harper, total runs and RBIs, it's 0.5. Over-under on that.
I'm going under. Bryce Harper is... I know people like to talk high on him, but I'm going under... I'm not a big believer in Bryce Harper. I don't believe he's as great as everybody likes to make him out to be. I don't put him up on the pedestal like everybody else does. The Braves are out to prove a point that, people are forgetting about them. Max Fried is a hell of a pitcher. So give me Bryce Harper to put up a goose egg and go over on opening day.
Yeah, we actually talked about Max Fried back a couple months ago, if I'm not mistaken, about how much of a beast, like a man-child he was. Yep. But shortstop here, Fernando Tatis, over under 1.5 total hits and runs. So add the hits and runs together, over 1.5.
Over. Yeah.
You're going
over all
100%.
day long. The San Diego Padres are they're my pick to win the West, and trust me, I know how good they are. I know they're going up against Madison Bumgarner. It's Madison Bumgarner versus Yu Darvish, which, by the way, if you love pitching, that's going to be a fun game to watch on opening day. And but give me Fernando Tatis to just open it up hot. Tatis and Machado, I believe, are just going to rake for the first month and a half because they want to come out swinging and they want to come out hot with the Dodgers and try to take a lead on them in that division. So I'm gonna say Tatis is over in that one.
So this is one player that you've been kind of dogging since he got traded to the Cardinals here, but Nolan Arenado, total hits plus runs plus RBIs, over under 1.5.
Runs, hits, and RBIs. They're playing the Reds.
Mm-hmm.
In Cincinnati as well. Yep. Luis Castillo. And I know I've been dogging him, and I know he's not going to have a great year, but I think he's going to have a good opening day with his team. So I'll take the over on that. He'll probably get that on hits alone. He might not get that in runs or anything else, but I think he'll have 2 or 3 hits.
Combs, I kind of feel like this is almost like a trap. Like they're wanting you to take the over, but because runs plus hits plus RBIs, I don't know, but I took the over like as well. Next up on our list is Mookie Betts, 2.5 total bases over under.
Ooh, man. The Dodgers have Colorado, facing off Herman Marquez. Man, this is another one I think I have to take the over on. Colorado is just it's one of those things where Mookie Betts could either have a very bad opening weekend or he could have one of those outstanding ones. Yeah, give me the over in this one as well. I think Mookie Betts is the trendsetter at the top of that lineup. I think he'll get on base. He'll definitely steal a bag or two. So I'm going over on this one as well.
And then our 10th one that we are going to talk about here is Whit Merrifield, Kansas City Royals here, over under 0.5 total RBIs in the game versus Texas.
Man.
Don't go against my boy now. Come on.
Where's he hitting in the lineup?
He is leadoff normally 9 times out of 10.
And it's over under
0.5.
0.5 RBIs?
One RBI to be over.
I'm going to go under because he's hitting leadoff. It's very hard to get an RBI as a leadoff man. They could possibly come out against Texas and score 17 runs that game, and everybody has an RBI. But at the same time, coming out of that leadoff spot, I'll take the under on that one just because of where he's hitting in the lineup.
Yeah, and that definitely makes sense here. But let's go ahead and throw one more at you here. I do see our boy Wyatt Waffle Williams saying, "What's up, boys? Wyatt, I hope you are enjoying your vacation. Had a good time at the. I believe you just went to the zoo today, if I'm not mistaken. But let's go ahead and throw a Cy Young winner in here, Combs. This is your probably the best pitcher ever, right? A Cy Young. He has carried his team.
I swear to God.
And
Trevor Bauer's not pitching opening day.
Jake DeGrom, over under 6.5 strikeouts.
Ooh. They're going up against Washington. I'm going to go under. I think he's going to have a good game. That's going to be another fun pitching matchup on opening day. DeGrom versus Scherzer. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna say that he doesn't strike out as many on opening day. It's 6.5, right?
6.5.
Yeah, I'm going under 6.5 strikeouts for him in that game. I think he'll probably go 6 innings. Him and Scherzer are both Bulldogs, but I think both of those lineups are good enough, and they make enough contact, especially that Nationals lineup. That Nationals lineup sees a lot of pitches. They just got Kyle Schwarber. And I know Kyle Schwarber, was one of those guys in Chicago who didn't really become what he could have been in Chicago, but he's always been that guy that I've been high on because he has professional at-bats, sees a lot of pitches, doesn't strike out a ton, makes a lot of contact, and so, and not only that, but they've just got a full line. Juan Soto's a stud. Juan Soto might be the best player in baseball, and so I'll say under.
All righty. So if you guys are interested in possibly winning $10,000, head over to thrivefantasy.com and use promo code MANHOUR. They'll match up to $50 on your first deposit there, and you can play the over/under game. Thrive Fantasy is really, really easy. So apparently on the baseball, they're doing over/under every day. So as little as $2 a day, you can be making up to $10,000 a day.
I'm getting rich.
Easy money. You'd be rich, but your bets usually are not very good. So everything that Combs said, guys, do exactly opposite of what Combs
this is not
just
college
said.
basketball brackets, buddy. I know baseball.
All righty, guys. So we are going to take our next break up here on the Man Hour. Coming up on the Man Hour, we have the world infamous What Does. Combs, we need to put Wyatt's picture back up there. I know Nana didn't like it, but we need to put Wyatt's picture back up there. We can't have Jordan up there. Nah, I'm kidding, guys. But we do have the What Does coming up, and at the quarter of the hour, we had the baseball lackey himself, Hoffy, join us to talk Tier 3 and Tier 4 baseball. So we'll be right back, guys, here on the Man Hour.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs here. Head over to thrivefantasy.com. Use promo code MANHOUR to get up to $50 match on your first deposit. Also, Combs, if they missed any part of the show whatsoever, they can head over to iHeartRadio, iTunes, or Spotify, download the podcast form of the show, or just simply go to manhourradio.com and click on the podcast and hit play. Simple as that, right? Bada bing, bada boom, you're there.
Sounds easy to me.
It sounds easy, but some people are not tech savvy. Hoffy, you'll get to my what does, because Hoffy is involved in my what does. But Combs, are you ready to get into the best segment of the week?
Let's do this.
For those people that do
things
not
to
know
say.
what this segment is the what this segment is what has been kind of brewing in us like all week, kind of like, man, like, what the are you guys thinking, right? I mean, we aren't going to say the last word because we can't. So it's what the. So let's do it. And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Michael Buckeyes along with Brandon Combs here. If you missed any of the part of the show whatsoever, head over to manhourradio.com. Click on the podcast. You can listen to the podcast form, or you can download it on Spotify, iTunes, or iHeartRadio as well. We're also live on youtube.com/manhour every Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. East Coast time, and Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. East Coast time. That's youtube.com/manhour. Let's go ahead and welcome Combs and the baseball lackey himself back to the show. First of all, Huffy, that was a great story. I'm glad you guys won in extra innings, I should say. So basically, you are the one-man wrecking crew. You are the Jake DeGrom. You are the who else carries a team?
Brady,
Trevor Bauer. You are the guy on the team, and I am
Jay Cutler.
Happy. Jay Cutler, yeah, he is great riding that bike, isn't he? Like over there on the sideline.
You're really quickly, coming on the wrong end of my lists here, Mr. Baseball Lackey.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I gotta take a nice hour ride to Big Sur tomorrow and hang out on the beach and that nice, beautiful ocean view with that red up. And I'll send you plenty more pictures.
I hope you get benched tomorrow when you get to the game tomorrow too.
Alrighty, guys. So let's go ahead and get into our baseball talk. Last night we talked Tier 7, Tier 6, and Tier 5. Tonight we're going to jump into Tier 4 and Tier 3. Tier 4 is interesting third place teams, Hoffy, and the first team that you have listed on there is the title team of the show, is the Brewers. They finished 29-31 last season. So do you have them finishing third in their division this year right off the bat?
I have them in second place, but I mean, them and St. Louis are both they're both in this tier. They could both flip-flop third place, second place. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Brewers team, takes first place and knocks out the Cubs.
So what is one thing that the Brewers can do to improve their chances of getting that second place in the division this year? Right.
So Christian Yelich had a rough season last year. He's due for a big bounce back. And their pitching staff, they're going to have one of the best pitching staffs as far as starters as well as bullpen. They got the best 1-2 punch in Devin Williams and Brent Sutter. Who Devin Williams was the Rookie of the Year last year. Freddie Peralta, all he's done in his 3-year career is strike out 258 batters in 192 innings. So the problem is going to be with their offense and then whether or not they can score. But they're going to have one of the best defenses there are, and their pitching staff's going to be there. So Like I said, offense is going to be their biggest key.
Yeah, so Combs, one of the biggest names that he dropped was Christian Yelich. Is he the X factor for the Brewers this year?
Yeah, I mean, as this offense goes, Christian Yelich goes. He is the driving force of this offense. He needs to have a Christian Yelich type year that he's had over the last, 3 of the last 4 years in order for them to be good. This pitching staff really needs to perform, though. I mean, in order for them to compete, this NL Central is going to be won by pitching and defense. This is not a very good offensive division. And you mentioned the airbender there and Devin Williams. You've got, not only that, but they've also got Josh Hader. And that back end of the bullpen is set. And so if their starters can perform, and I think that they will, I think that this team, I have them finishing second in this division. I have it. To me, I think it's between the Cubs and the Brewers. I don't think the Cardinals are even a thought in the division. So for me, I have the Cubs and the Brewers, and I wouldn't be surprised if either one of these two flip-flops and wins the division and the other one ends up a wild card team.
I agree. And Woodruff and Corbin Burns are definitely underrated leaders of that pitching staff too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so the next team that you have in Tier 4, interesting third-place teams, is the St. Louis Cardinals in that same division. We kind of touched on them a tad bit there.
Yeah.
So
I got them only a 1-game difference. 83, 84 wins between those two teams. So which one's going to be second, which one's going to be third. But I would be more, I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, if you see the Cubs in second and the Brewers take that first position. But I'm not sold on the Arenado trade. He's outside of Coors Field, which is where he hits his best. So I think he's going to struggle. You got a new second baseman, so you're going to have, some learning curves there between the second and shortstop on those double play balls and such. And I just feel that this team is, although they have a pretty solid bullpen, number 8 bullpen, they got young lefties in Cabrera, Tyler Webb, along with righty Helsley. But I just think that they're not going to hit enough to compete with the Cubs.
Yeah, I agree. This team is not going to hit very well. Their offense is down. I think Nolan Arenado is going to have a bad year in his first year in St. Louis because of their lack of depth in their lineup. I know people talk about, Harrison Bader, and they'll talk about Paul DeYoung and all that, but those guys aren't guys that really scare you. Those guys aren't guys. So those guys are going to have world beater years in order for the Cardinals to contend. I have the Cardinals at 81 and 81 this year. I don't see much. Even Jack Flaherty. I mean, Jack Flaherty was, supposed to be the next coming of Cy Young, and this kid came out last year. I think the Cubs averaged like 9 runs a game against this kid. So they don't really have the pitching. Miles Michaelis isn't anything nice. Adam Wainwright's about 112 years old. And Carlos Martinez just isn't, he was another guy they called him Little Pedro, and he was supposed to be something special, and he just never materialized. This Cardinals team has a whole lot of holes to it, and I have them at 81 and 81, but to be honest with you, I could see them not even getting to the 500 mark this year.
Hoffy, you need follow-up on that?
No, I mean, I got them at 83 wins, but, I wouldn't be surprised if they fall under that. And, like Combs said, if they're under that 500 mark by a game or two.
Okay, so the next team that you have following in that Tier 4 list here is interesting third-place team is the Washington Nationals. They did finish 26 and 34 in the 2020 campaign. However, pitching has kind of been their staple for the Nationals the past couple seasons. Is pitching still the X factor here for the Nationals?
Absolutely. They're going to have a top 5 staff in Scherzer, Corbin, and Strasburg. Trey Turner, I mean, the speed on that kid is unbelievable. A hell of a shortstop. I believe Josh Bell and Combs' guy Kyle Schwarber are going to be big adds to that team. You got Starlin Castro. You got a pretty solid lineup there. It's just going to be tough to compete with that Mets and Braves team.
Yeah, and like you said, when you've got a pitching rotation that makes it so that John Lester is your number 4, you've got something special. Yep. And this national team is very good top to bottom. I really like the addition of Josh Bell at first base. They still got Ryan Zimmerman over there, so them two can platoon. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Josh Harrison's there as well. That was a sneaky quiet pickup, and Juan Soto. And this team is really good, can't compete. This is a very good East. I do have them finishing fourth, but again, so I've got the Mets winning 95, the Braves winning 90, the Phillies winning 87, and the Nats winning 86. So I've got this as a really good division, and to be honest, it would not surprise me to see the Nationals and the Phillies along with the Braves and the Mets all in that same thing. I could see this division coming down to a 1 or 2 game swing between the top 4 teams.
So one thing, Combs, that you harp on is a good pitching staff to make a good postseason run, I should say. Nationals have that pitching staff intact here. So, Hoffy, I'm going to kick this question to you. Why do you not think they're going to make it into the postseason? Is it because of the strong division? Do they need some bats? Like, well, what do they need to get into the playoffs this year?
I don't know that you can compete with the Braves and the Mets. It's going to be tough, and then you're going to have the Phillies as well. So you got to think that they're probably going to split that series, and then they're going to lose some to the Braves and to the Mets. But yeah, I mean, if they get into the playoffs or get into that wild card game with that pitching staff where you have, Lester as your 4 guy, it's going to be a hell of an out for sure.
Yeah, they're going to, if they get into the playoffs, man, they might be my sleeper pick. If they can get into the playoffs, they sneak into the playoffs, I might pick them to win the whole damn thing because of that pitching staff. I mean, if John Lester is your number 4, like, that's a pretty damn good number 4 pitcher, and I don't know that there's any team that out there that can compete with that. Not even the Mets, not even the Braves. I think the Nationals definitely have the best pitching staff, top to bottom, in that division. I just think the other 2 teams, have a little bit more offense and are a little bit more well put together. But again, I mean, this is going to be a great division to watch.
Okay, so speaking of great teams to watch here in 2017, trash can beaters themselves, the Houston Astros did win the World Series back in 2017, but they've been struggling ever since. They finished 29-31 in the 2020 campaign. Hoffy, you have them as your final team and the interesting third-place team. Do they finish in third place in their division, or do you see them doing worse than that?
I think this is a 3-team race in the West between the A's, the Angels, and the Astros. I don't think the Astros are going to pull it out. But I mean, you got Springer, who you lost. Bregman's going to step into that leadoff spot. He's got a pretty good walk to strikeout ratio, and he's got power. So he's going to take care of that, that leadoff spot, which you're going to, so you're really not losing a whole lot with losing Springer. But the pitching is going to be the issue. And they only have 1 lefty on the staff. So I believe the pitching is going to be where, they're going to struggle with the A's and the Angels.
So, Combs, Hoffy is saying pitching is the issue. Are you concurrent with that?
No, I think there's more issues than just that. I think the pitching is definitely the issue. Verlander's on the 60. I don't even know if he's going to pitch this year.
I don't think he's going to.
Yeah,
Greinke's velocity is declining. I mean, his command and his command and his movement are the only things that are saving him. So if he loses those,
right,
and that's my thing there.
And that's what I'm saying. He's he's hot and cold. The rest of their pitching staff is okay. Maybe McCullers might be your best pitcher after him.
Even McCullers, the second I looked his stats up, his second time around in the batting order, he's throwing a lot more pitches and so that's his issue.
And then their bullpen is suspect at best. Their offense is really going to hem on how big of a rebound year Jose Altuve has.
I agree.
If he's that still 219 hitter because he no longer has buzzers and trash cans to tell him what pitch is coming, then they're in real trouble because Carlos Correa cannot carry this team on his back for 162 games like he did for 60 games last year.
Yeah, but you got Bregman, Brantley, Tucker, Alvarez, Gurriel, Maldonado. I mean, they got a pretty solid lineup.
Yeah, but I mean, their outfield is depleted. I mean, you've got Michael Brantley in left field, but then you've got this kid Miles Straw, and then Kyle Tucker. This team
underperformed, and they were in the ALCS last year. I mean,
yeah, Jose Altuve, to me, it was a different season last year because it was 60 games. If this if that season was a 162 game season, Houston doesn't even make the playoffs the way they were playing down the stretch. They started out really, really hot and then just calmed down the stretch and had a good run, in the playoffs. But I don't know. This team does not impress me whatsoever. I don't even think that they are in the talks in the division. I think that they are kind of like the Cardinals. I think they're maybe a 500 team, probably sub 500 team.
On the flip side of that coin, though, Combs, if they were to play 162 games, they would have had a roller coaster of a season. Every team has their high points and their low points throughout the season. They just hit their low point at the wrong time.
Yeah, but I think that I think if you put that team in a 162 game season, it was the same thing with the Marlins and the same thing with my Cubs. I don't think the Cubs make the playoffs last year if it was a 162 game season. They started out hot and they just cooled down the stretch. I don't think the Marlins make the playoffs to a 162 game season because they played hot. You always see those teams in the first 2 to 3 months of the season that play hot and then come back down to earth, like the Colorado Rockies tend to do a lot. So I don't see Houston contending for anything in the AL West. I think that's a 2-team race.
Okay, so that is going to wrap up the Tier 4 list here that Hoffy has given us here. Interesting third place team. Just to recap those, he has the Milwaukee Brewers in there, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Washington Nationals, and the Houston Astros. Giving us up to Tier 3, he has this quoted as solid contenders. The first one that he has listed here are the Tampa Bay Rays. They went 40-20 in the 2020 campaign here. Very good season last year. So why do you have them kind of low, Hoffy?
They traded off a very valuable piece in their lefty. Really all they have now is Glass now. So it depends on, are their young, pitchers going to be able to perform this year? They're going to be number 7 in bullpen. They got a hell of a closer in Diego Castilla. Their primary setup man, Pete Fairbanks, Rose, Thompson, Rosarina, potential rookie of the year. But outside of that, I don't love their offense, and I'm not sold on those starting pitchers. I think they lost a little too much this year.
Yeah, they're a scrappy team offensively. They are one of those teams that I like to watch because they are young and they are scrappy. Except they're not very young in their rotation. Chris Archer needs to have a bounce back year. Maybe he will, being back in Tampa Bay. Maybe he'll be happy being back where he started his career. And then, they did sign Rich Hill, which was a good signing for them. Rich Hill's just one of those guys who seems... You remember another lefty in... oh, God, what was his name? Pitched till he was like 47 for Philadelphia, ended his career. I can't think of his name right now. But he is one of those type of guys who, the older he gets, he just seems like he can always pitch and pitch well. I do like this Tampa Bay Rays team. Yeah, Jamie Moyer. I do like this Tampa Bay Rays team, and I think in the AL East, the Yankees and the Jays are really the cream of the crop, but I think the Rays are right next to them. I think that this is a 3-team race. I think 3 teams from the AL East are going to the playoffs this year, and that includes the Tampa Bay Rays.
Are we going to call the wild card game the playoffs?
Yeah, the wild card game is the playoffs.
Technically postseason, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna call that a play-in game, and I don't consider that playoffs. And I have, by no means do these tiers represent where I think they'll be at the end of the year. In fact, I have a team in tier 1 that doesn't even make the playoffs.
Okay, so spoiler alert there. So sticking into tier 3 here, the solid contenders, we do have the Oakland A's. They finished 36-24 last season. Hoffy, this A team's always seems like a team that's always right there, but never quite have enough to get over that hump. Do they eventually get over the hump this season?
No, they don't get over the hump and go too far into the playoffs. I think, they're money ball. They play well during the season. They're going to have a number 9 pitching staff, Puck, Manaea, Frankie Montas, Elvis Andrews, and Moreland. They're going to be big ads for them. It's a big ballpark, and Mitch is a huge double hitter. So I find them, in the playoffs. But I don't know that they're, that they go much further than the first round, if that.
Yeah, see, I love Ramon Laureano. I love Steven Piscotty. I like this lineup. I think that this is another scrappy type team, another scrappy lineup. Their middle relief is where they, to me, they lose some ground with the Angels. I think that this team here can contend with the Angels. I just think that they're one of those teams to watch because, look, I say this all the time. The Oakland A's are that team that'll win 90 games every single year, and every single next preseason, nobody picks them to do anything. But they always win like 90 games. They're always in the conversation.
I feel that they're going to have one of the best infields in the league for sure this year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And their outfield's not bad either.
Yeah, so speaking of not doing a lot in the playoffs, the Chicago Cubs falls in that tier 3 category as well. They did get swept in the playoffs, but they did finish the 2020 campaign
see what you did there.
34-26. So, Hoffy, you kind of homer picked your Red Sox last night. Are you kind of dogging the Cubs a little bit here because of Combs' homer pick?
No, the only issue with the Cubs, and I think Combs is gonna agree with me here, is the pitching. You got Hendricks, he's a stud, but what do you get from the rest of the staff? What you're getting from Happ, Contreras, Rizzo, Chris Bryant. Jock Peterson, I think, is going to be a hell of an ad for them. You got Baez, Hayward. That team 1 through 7 is just terrorizing. I don't want to face any of them on my best day. So it's just, what are you going to get from this pitching staff? And what are you going to get when you're playing the Brewers? I think this division comes down to this series between the Brewers and Chicago throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think that the Cubs pitching staff is a little bit better than what we want to think. I think Arrieta going back to Chicago is kind of going to revive him just a little bit. I do like Zach Davies. I don't think Zach Davies was really a step down from Yu Darvish. I know Yu Darvish was second, was runner-up in the Cy Young, but I think Zach Davies might even be more consistent than Yu Darvish is. So I like the addition of Yu Darvish. The wild card is going to be in that fourth and fifth starter with, whether it's Adbert Alzolay or Trevor Williams or Alec Mills. Those guys really need to step up, and those guys need to perform like the guys that they were projected to be. Adbert Alzolay has not performed well in the majors. He was supposed to be their top pitching prospect. Alec Mills has been up and down. And then even in the bullpen, I love Rowan Wick. I really do. But when you go into a season and your closer is Craig Kimbrell, you don't know what you're going to get. And, I like the addition of Brandon Workman and Ryan Tepera and Dan Winkler and those guys. But Craig Kimbrell as our closer is just where, it's scary, because you can go into a game where you're winning 5-3 or 5-2 and you bring in Craig Kimbrell, you're not sure if you're walking out of there with a win. And that's the problem with a closer. So that's where the Cubs, scare me a little bit. Plus, their offense tends to go on cold streaks, and when they go on cold streaks, they go really, really cold. So if they can be more consistent, they need more consistent play out of Javier Baez at the plate. They need more consistent play from Chris Bryant. They need him to be healthy all year long, and see where they can run in this weak division.
All right, so the last team that Hoffy has in his tier 3 solid contenders are the Angels. That's kind of a surprising to me, but Hoffy, explain, why do you got them up there?
Why not? Shohei Ohtani, he's due to come back, and I've liked the velocity on his arm. I do believe he, had a little injury the other day, a blister or something like that, but he should be good to go. But I think that's going to be the X factor on, is he going to pitch all year, or are they going to, find some issues there and decide that he's just best off as a DH or even as an outfielder. But if he can stay healthy, pitch all year, as well as fill that DH spot, you got Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Justin Upton in the middle of that, order is going to be pretty scary. I like Dexter Fowler, and you got a hell of a shortstop in Jose Iglesias for defense. This is Albert Pujols last year. So, I expect things from him. I think you'll see a little bit of Jared Walsh mixed in there at first base as well. But I think that you're going to see some big things from this Angels team. And, Trout hasn't, had much success in the playoffs, and I think that's going to change this year. I like it, and I think Combs will agree, Jose Quintana, is a good addition for this Angels team, as well as they have Alex Cobb. And like I said, hopefully Ohtani will be their ace.
So Quintana is one of those guys. I like him with Joe Madden, and that's because Joe Madden has a tendency to pull his pitchers early, and that's what Quintana needs. He needs somebody who will pull him in the 5th or 6th inning before he can really blow up. But I think that their best addition of the offseason, they made a lot of additions this offseason. Their best addition was their quietest addition, and that was a trade with the Cincinnati Reds to get Raisel Iglesias. That kid is a stud out of the pen. He's going to probably close for them this year. That kid is, I mean, he throws gas. I'm talking about 101, 102 miles an hour. This kid is just unbelievable. He reminds me of another coming of Aroldis Chapman. And so I really like this kid with the Angels. But again, I mean, look, when you've got a lineup where it's smack dab in the middle of your lineup is Anthony Rendon, Mike Trout, and Albert Pujols, like, that's something. And this Jared Walsh kid can really hit as well. Dexter Fowler being probably going to hit 7th for them. And, I really like this team. Anthony Rendon is a stud. I just love it. That kid's for real. He's the real deal, MVP type player. So I think the Angels are going to do really good things. I have them winning the West. I have them winning the World Series this year.
Yeah, I have them in the World Series. I have them, losing to another California team.
So spoiler alert. There, huh? Spoiler alert. So that will round out our tier 3 solid contenders: the Tampa Bay Rays, Oakland A's, Chicago Cubs, and is it the Los Angeles Angels still, or Anaheim Angels? Los Angeles
Angels of Anaheim.
What is Anaheim. It is the LAAAs. There you go. Right
it's
there.
like Mets Field is still Shea Stadium. It's not Citi Field or whatever they call it. White Sox Field. When the White Sox play, it's Comiskey Park. I don't care if they call it guaranteed rate.
So Hoffy, here on the after show here at 10 p.m. East Coast time, Combs is going to give us his best opening day story. Do you have any great opening day stories?
Yeah.
Well, let's hear it.
I went to opening day Reds.
Well, we're not going to let you tell the story because you have to do it on the after hours, Hoffy. Come on, man. They have to go to Hoffy. We want you to stay around for the after hours story. After hours to
you got to tell me that.
What's that?
You didn't tell me that.
There we go. Well,
I thought we were warming it up for the after show.
Yeah, we are warming it up. Now, guys, we'll be right back here on the Man Hour, guys. Stay tuned for some shop talk. Want to talk about something? Let us know in the comments. YouTube.com/Man Hour. We'll be right back.
Promise.
And welcome back to the Man Hour, guys. Mako Bakato with Brandon Combs, and Baseball Lackey is still here himself. If you guys are interested in hearing his opening day story, stay tuned to the After Hours, youtube.com, or I should say manhourradio.com. Click on the members only tab in the
Hoffy,
after
you got
show.
time to stick around?
Yeah, you got time?
You guys.
We really
Buck just
appreciate
assumed
it, man.
he's like, hey, you're staying.
Well, I mean, I figured the gingers always got to stick together, and I
true.
feel like we are building a gingerbread house, like, at this point. So the foundation has been built. Now we're building the walls, and the after show is going to put the roof on it with the icing on the cake. And bada bing, bada boom. It is going to be magic. But speaking of magic, guys, so the Gonzaga Bulldogs is heading to the Final Four. This is their 5th season in a row with 30-plus wins. Can you
How do
put
we
your
get
head
a bracket with so much parity? We talked about all the parity, and now we're gonna end up with a 1 versus a 2 and a 1, and like, God, I hope
As they say,
UCLA
cream
pulls it
always
out.
rises to the top. I mean,
I just hope UCLA pulls it out. Like, give me some chaos.
so Hoffy, you are there on the West Coast. You see these Pac-12 teams play in football, basketball, baseball, etc. Did you get a chance to watch any Pac-12 basketball?
This year I got to watch quite a bit on the ESPN Plus app because, being in the area. So I got to see a lot of the USC basketball. So, that was my team to go on a huge run through the tournament.
Were you surprised by their run?
Yes and no. I mean, I was surprised, but that was, kind of my sleeper pick. But I just went with it to say, if they did, I was the one that, I called that, but I didn't really think it was going to happen.
Yeah, that Gonzaga really took it to him. I think Gonzaga is. I think everybody was right. I didn't want to believe it. I thought they'd lose at some point, but they're so good.
There is something about a good basketball team, right? And I feel like Gonzaga is that good team. I mean, they're basically grown men versus 18-year-olds, like out there, like at the end of the day, and that's kind of what it is. But they are heading to the Final Four here, but just 5 seasons in a row with 30-plus wins, like that is absolutely mind-boggling to me. That has never been done in the NCAA.
They also recruit right because all their players are staying for the 3 to 4 years, compared to Kentucky, so it's much easier to build that chemistry.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. So this is Shop Talk, guys. So if you guys want to talk about anything, let us know in the comment section here. And Drew comes out and says, women's college basketball, who do you guys want to win? The Arizona, what are they? The Arizona Wildcats or the UConn Huskies?
UConn. I mean, look, they're UConn. They are the.
You don't want to go for the upset. Me and you said you always want to go for it.
I do, but look, this is women's college basketball. Gino Auriemma and the referees clearly want them to win, as evident.
Come
as
on,
of their win
get
versus
out of
Baylor.
here.
So
I love that accent.
UConn's gonna win. The way that they won that game last night, the referees handed UConn the win.
So if you want to go that route, let's look way they won the game. They come back, they're down by 12 or 13 points. They come back and won the game.
And when they're up by 2 and the girl is driving to the net and she gets hit in the face and gets hit on the arm and gets thrown to the ground, and there's no call.
You got ball first.
This guy. Were you even watching the game, Hoffy? I know you're still watching spring training.
I'm on the West Coast. I didn't get that game.
Did you? So who do you want to win? Do you want the Wildcats or the Huskies to win that?
Being that I'm born and raised in New England, I got to go with Auriemma. I grew up watching Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. And
God, Diana Taurasi was hot.
The start of that dynasty. So I'm gonna ride it out as long as Auriemma's there.
Don't the UConn Huskies have like two or three separate 60-game winning streaks or something crazy like that? Like they are a staple of women's college basketball, and I feel like I always say it, like if Gino wins one more, he will retire. Like maybe this is the year that he finally retires because he's getting pretty old. So let somebody else win it once in a while. Go ahead.
All right. So Tori Anderson comes in and says, Jelly Belly jelly beans or Brock's jelly beans?
Hoffy, we'll let you answer that question first, man.
Neither. I'm not a Jelly Band fan.
Oh, I'm all about the Jelly Bellies, man. The Jelly Bellies are so much better than the Brocs. The Brocs are just like they're old. Like then you get to that black one and it's the licorice flavor. Even though I like it, a lot of people don't like it.
Gross.
The Jelly Bellies, man, you don't get to those ones. Those Jelly Bellies.
Have you
They've
played
got
that,
so many different
what
flavors.
Is it game with the jelly beans, and you got to try it.
Oh
it can be like
yes.
rat
Oh my
piss.
God, I've got videos of my kids and I doing it this summer. We were at Michelle's brother's house and we were all playing it, and we got to a point where we were like, all right, if you're not knocked out by only eating one jelly bean, we got to start doing. Next round, we're doing 2. Then after that, we're doing 3. So
Wait.
at one point, her brother had to do
this?
4. Oh, it's called.
You don't know what jelly bean you're getting, but it could be like it could be grape, it could be apple, or it could
Bean
be
Boozled.
raspy,
It's called
or
Bean
it could be-
Boozled.
Oh yeah.
And they have the white one could either be coconut or it could be spoiled milk.
Ugh.
And then the brown one is either like chocolate or it's going to be dog food.
Okay,
Like-
so
And when I
This-
tell you the dog food one, like as soon as my son bit into the dog food one, it smelled like we just opened up a can of wet dog food. You know that
That was
nasty
Yeah.
gravy? Oh my
bad.
god.
It is. It's exactly what
Yeah.
it tastes like.
They have dirty sock ones in there. Yeah, but me and her brother held our own in that game, but my junior ran out to the deck and vomited.
So, is this like a bag of jelly beans like you buy as like a gag gift, or is it something like you have to go to the store and like?
It comes
like,
in. There's like this little container, right? And so what you do is you shake the container, and when you turn it upside down, a jelly bean comes out of it. So you don't know what jelly bean it is, and then you just got to put it in your mouth. And if you make a face, you're out. If you eat it with a straight face, you're good.
This seems really, really dumb. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it is.
But hey, do you guys want to play that game?
It's fun as hell. It's fun as hell, especially
We'll do
if
it
you
on
get
air.
somebody like
let's do
Michelle who doesn't have a good stomach. I mean, I think Michelle smelled a jelly bean and she was out. So
I mean, like, this is a typical guy game, right? Like, you can have like a pair of stocks that's been sitting in your bag, like, oh man, that stinks. Hey man, smell this, right? This is a typical guy game. 100%.
Booger flavor and barf too. Yeah, they do have a barf flavored jelly bean. That
Wait,
one was.
First of all,
that
what
was
is burger
rude.
flavor like?
Booger?
Well, yeah, like I know, like you pick your nose and you
Yeah,
get a burger.
that one
but,
to
like,
me wasn't too bad. Like I don't know, that one I was all right with. Yeah,
hey, I've been picking my nose since I was like 16. So
yeah, I lick my snots every time I have a runny nose.
It's so gross. I wonder. Do you guys think these jelly beans go through like a quality inspection? Like, oh, that's not quite barf.
I
flavor.
want
like, we need to add a little.
Well, not
Get
just
UL
like the
certified
quality
first.
control, but who was the freaking guy who said, "Hey, I can mimic a barf flavor"? Like, how did you know what the barf flavor? What ingredients to put
Right.
in to make it a barf flavor?
Like, did you have pizza the night before or Subway?
I don't understand it.
Sheesh, man.
I don't get it.
So being in the food industry, there's a thing called NSF certified, food safety rated. Like, are these things NSF approved? I mean,
Probably not. Probably not.
So speaking of which, on our way home from my brother-in-law's house, because we had to go over there for supper tonight, but I digress on that. I passed a truck called a D&F truck. So, or no, sorry, it's a do not recitate. So like like that. Oh, it's DNR, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, like the first thing that came to mind is like, well, why is this truck driving around saying do not like bring back to life like if I die? Funny thing, it was a Ford truck, but I digress on that. But this was a Department of National Resources. So there is a department like out there like saying, hey, you can't mow this grass. Hey, you can't cut down this tree. Like, isn't that crazy to me? So,
Yeah, that's insane. Like, it makes you wonder like how people make stuff up and then they get rich off of it. Like, I'm pretty stupid. I can come up with some stupid shit that I can make money off of. Like, why?
yeah.
Why not?
That Chicago Bears are good. Oh, my bad.
Says the guy who picked the Detroit Lions to win the division at 10-6.
They were
Okay.
just a few games. They were just a few games away. A few games away.
Bears made the playoffs. My prediction wasn't that far off.
Tori says barf was an accident flavor when they were trying to make cheese flavored jelly beans. they were.
And
way
Wyatt
off on
Williams
cheese
wants us to
flavor.
drink.
Yeah, there
Can
we
you
go.
change the words on that sign?
Which one?
That
Your
ugly,
Cubs
that
one?
ugly,
Yeah.
that ugly
No.
Cubs. No,
No.
it's about
Why?
the only time you ever see that win word on there.
Oh, okay. I bet you they win more games this year than the Red Sox.
Well, it's not hard to do when you're in the NL Central. Might as well call it the NFC East of the NFL.
So hey, let's put
The
a
NFC
friendly
East is the NFL.
let's put a friendly wager on the like on the bet. Hoffy, you got a beard there. Combs, you got a beard. Unless the loser shaves a beard. How many wins do the Cubs get this year?
I've got the Cubs at 89 wins. What do you got them at, Hoffy?
88.
So if they get under
Over, under?
88, Hoffy wins. Over 89, Combs wins.
No,
I'll take that.
that's dumb.
Is it?
It is.
Just
But
'cause you're
I
scared.
just look. Why
Come on,
keep
Homer,
chiming
have
in
some
here,
faith.
man? Why are we always betting hair on this show? Wyatt wants to know. Buck, why are you always trying to get people to bet their hair on this show?
Because
I mean, we could go.
We
head
don't
for head
care,
if you want.
Buck. Man Hour Nation, rise up.
that was a good one, man. Good one. Let me get that after show going, boys.